Good morning. I'm with the State Natural Areas Volunteers and Zach Kastern. Hey, Zach.
How do?
What are we looking at here, man? What was our goal today, and how did we do?
Well, what we're looking at is big piles of buckthorn. Hopefully, the biggest thing we were looking at. What's that?
Speak up.
Okay. The biggest stuff we're looking at is, as you're looking forward here, you see kind of a ridge. This ridge is pushing up out of a wetland that's actually more calcareous fen. So we're working on buckthorn and honeysuckle that are invading woodland and into the calcareous fen around the Bluff Creek State Natural Area. So we wanted to work on the densest populations of buckthorn, and judging by the piles, and I think we had nearly 20 people here, I think we got quite a bit done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good work day.
And can you explain the strategy about leaving the mature buckthorn in the vicinity of the piles that are started?
Well, basically we wanted to, because we were using a lot of brush cutters, we wanted to get the edges of stuff, push back on the edges and push back to where the heavy stuff is, and then we can always progress further beyond that. And this site is scheduled to be burned this year, so you know, I think getting that newer edge pushed back, and then we can work on the mature stuff a little bit later.
The fire will carry. You think the fire will carry off of the fen up into the hillside a little bit better without this row of buckthorn on the edge?
I like that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Right on. And another thing we're doing here, if I may interject, is we're leaving some piles amongst mature buckthorn because we're going to come back in the winter possibly and finish and burn these piles, and then we'll have plenty of work to do right in the vicinity of the piles with the mature buckthorn that we left.
Actually, what'll probably happen is if they do get the fire through here, I'm thinking these piles will be picked up and there won't be any piles for us in the winter. But
it's possible.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah,
it's to be seen.
Good point. I've seen it work, but if the piles are a little more old or a little more mature, seasoned, if you will.
Yep. But yeah, it's just a great site where it has this calcareous fen, and it carries up into oak savanna, oak woodland. So
Zach,
it's really a unique site.
Would you mind if we take a walk over to the Bluff Creek there quick?
Yeah.
We're only a few yards from Bluff Creek here, and I would be remiss if I didn't show you the context of this fen that Zach is referring to. What are some of the unique features of this fen, Zach?
Well, I'm not an expert, but I know there are a number of unique plants specific to the fen, to the calcareous fen, and typically what we'll find is kind of softer ground, kind of up, the springs are coming out of the ground, more of an upland site, and kind of cascading downward toward the creek. So it's very specific plants.
For the layman, Zach, what is I can't even pronounce it. What did you say?
As far as I've been taught, it's called a calcareous fen, and Jared might be the better expert on that. But the way I understand it is the water coming up out of the ground. We're really close to the I think it's like the limestone bedrock and stuff. So it has a lot of minerals and nutrients to that spring water that are very specific or unique to a fen. And that lends itself then to a very specific set of plants. Grass of Parnassus is one of the unique ones we find out here that we don't find at a lot of other sites.
Yes.
But yeah, Jared Urban could probably expound on that later.
It's okay, Zach. Tell us about the Bluff Creek here. Where are we in relationship to the headwaters?
Yep, so we've been working at the headwaters of the springs earlier this winter, and we are now downstream. Boy, I would venture to guess maybe a mile or so. Mm-hmm. We're downstream. We are west of County Highway P, and this is the creek is on its way to meet up with Whitewater Creek, and together they will flow into Whitewater, and they will join up into Lakes Tripp and Cravath, and then carry north out of Whitewater.
Mm-hmm. And this is a Class 1 trout stream. Even this far downstream, I believe it's still rated as a Class 1 trout stream, which indicates that there's the population of trout is naturally reproducing itself and maintaining its levels. And if you see the stony bottom of and all the cover, all the diverse, it's a beautiful habitat for trout. Wouldn't you say, the overhanging undercut banks and such?
Yep, that's exactly. You got to have a little bit of cover. You've got to have the bottoms for the spawning, and some vegetation helps for the forage, you know. So it's supposed to be pretty healthy stuff. I don't fish myself per se, but I have seen quite a few people out here doing it, and I hear that it is a pretty good sight. I tend to be a little more interested in the upland areas personally, and as we look back, you know, this whole wetland complex is actually on a pitching hillside, so it's kind of interesting because you can walk that far upland and still have wet feet.
Yeah. This is a great view of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of just make out the ridge to the north up there. And there's a lot of mature oaks in there that you're going to need a little rescue cutting here shortly. And
so when you, sorry to interrupt, but when you prioritize what areas you're going to work on, it looks like you're looking at the big sweep of the landscape and where the intersections are of the zones and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we all collaborate, you know, we have the DNR and then myself and Ginny Coburn and whoever, you know, any of the volunteers who comes up with an idea or a place they really like. Anybody can participate and collaborate in the planning and what they want to do. So me, I like big oak trees, I like savannas, I like prairies. So and I saw an opportunity, and then we also keep in mind, we try to plan our work days for the number of people we expect, and we want the younger generation to come out and learn. So we have the college kids here today, and maybe some of the older generation, maybe, you know, some of them maybe don't want to work quite as hard. Some actually outwork most of us, but you know, we try to keep all that in mind and plan accordingly.
Well, it was a great work day. Thanks for taking time to talk with us, Zach, and I really had a good time today.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.